everyone. I'm Rob Clamp of the Writing Group in BADM 590. Our group is going to look at the healthcare dilemma today in the United States. With 50 million Americans uninsured and the other 250 million Americans that have the increasing rising cost of healthcare, it's a real problem in the U.S. today. Our group is going to take an in-depth look at the healthcare crisis, or dilemma if you will, and make recommendations on what can be done and how to improve it. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Okay, welcome back. First aspect we're going to look at with our healthcare dilemma is the federal budget in the United States. I'm sitting next here with my good friend Dennis. That took a look at the different aspects of the federal budget. Basically, what issues are affecting the federal budget in terms of cost, what aspects are increasing, which aspects are decreasing, and Dennis really took an in-depth look at that. So Dennis, can you expand on a little bit of the things you looked at?
Sure thing, Rob. So the federal budget's really interesting to a lot of people. We've been hearing a lot about it on the news. Currently, the federal budget is $3.6 trillion, and the U.S. brings in about $2.6 trillion of that in taxes, which leaves us a deficit of $1 trillion, which is what all the fighting in Congress has recently been about. As far as healthcare is concerned in the federal budget, the USA currently spends about 25% of its federal budget on healthcare. That's compared to 20% on defense. Everybody knows that the U.S. has a large defense spending in a pretty big military-industrial complex, but actually we spend more on healthcare than we do on defense. And it's rising. From the 1960s to now, we went from spending 9% of our federal budget to 25% now, and it's only supposed to increase because of the number of individuals who are aging. Just to give you a brief comparison, I know we're throwing around a bunch of numbers with billions and trillions. One U.S. Navy carrier costs about $11 billion to build. And that would fund about 750,000 total joint replacements. So that would be enough to replace 2 joints in every person in Spokane County, 1 aircraft carrier. The Navy currently maintains 10 of them with 1 in reserve. So basically what I'm saying is the Navy maintains approximately 7.5 million joint transplants in its aircraft carrier fleet.
It's really interesting, Dennis. I mean, I didn't realize that we were spending that much on healthcare these days and how it's shifted from the defense budget. That's really good information. Hello. The next aspect of our project we're looking at is the healthcare costs and where they have increased overall, and then what we can do to control these increases in healthcare, and then also the funding of a universal healthcare plan, kind of ideas we have for that. And Koji here was the one that looked at it. And so Koji, what aspects of healthcare are causing the highest rate of cost increase at this time?
Okay, there is 4 aspects causing the high cost. The lack of well-developed competitive market in the health sectors, advanced technology, and administrative of cost of healthcare, and market powers.
So with those rising costs, what are some of the ways or some of the ideas that you found to control these issues?
Okay, so 2 ideas I looked up. One of those expenditure caps, and another one is global budget.
Okay, so when we talk about how we can fund universal health care, what are kind of some of the things you found in that aspect?
Okay, there is private health insurance and the government health insurance. So private health insurance including to employment-based health insurance, own employment-based health insurance, and direct purchase health insurance. And the government health insurance, there is Medicare, Medicaid, military health care, state-specific plans, and Indian health services.
Okay, thank you, Koji. That's great information right there. So next we have Lindsay. She took a look at the overall demographics and birth rates, death rates in the U.S., and then also some of the Medicare costs and issues. So Lindsay, can you tell me a little bit about the overall population demographics for the next 50 years or so that's projected?
Yes, overall, the population growth rate will be at a reduced level compared to the last 50 years. By 2050, the U.S. population will be 238 million people. Of that, the elderly population is significantly increasing. In 2005, they accounted for 12% of the population, whereas in 2050, it's projected to increase to 19%.
Interesting. So, with that kind of demographic, I would assume that the birth rates are probably going to decline and the death rate's going to go up. So, how would that affect healthcare costs?
Well, as you have increasing death rates with the elderly population, the healthcare costs go up because per capita, a bulk of the costs are in the later part of life. At the same time, where you have birth rates decreasing, you have a smaller population to support the elderly as those healthcare costs increase.
So, Lindsay, Medicare also seems to be a problem. I know a lot of healthcare providers have problems with the way they're reimbursed and the rates they get. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Yes, since 1997, the physician reimbursement rates have been based on a formula for economic growth known as the sustainable growth rate. In the first few years, only modest increases in reimbursement were provided because the target was not reached. But since 2002, there has been a decline in the reimbursement rates, which Congress has had to step in to eliminate or slow down due to the negative effects to the providers. The second component is a fee-for-service model really does not reward physicians for providing improved quality of care. It's simply based on the number of services provided. So there's not necessarily a proportionate increase in the value of the overall health system.
That's really good information. Thanks, Lindsay.